here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego, and happy Wednesday to everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Today, live from the Loft at Petco Park in the Western Metal Supply Company building as we take you up to the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show coming up at 12:10 with Sam Levitt. Padres-Orioles, Game 3 of a 3-game series. Orioles have gotten the better of the Padres the first couple of days, and Padres in a skid right now in September that you would not like them to be in. As of right now, and we talked about it a little bit off air with myself, Frank Marchese, Adam Klug is running the board today for us. You know, for a team, and it's kind of where I want to start here, for a team that has a 99% chance of making the postseason, it feels like today's kind of a must-win. As crazy as that sounds, today feels like it's kind of a must-win. I mean, the Padres going into this stretch of 6 games, we talked about it on the roundtable last Thursday. We're going to have another roundtable tomorrow. And I think, honestly, for the betterment of the roundtable, Padres need to win today. I'm going to say it from that perspective. In terms of making the playoffs, do they need to win today? Probably not. In terms of the betterment of the roundtable and maybe broadcaster curses, yeah, Padres need to win today. Everybody said on the roundtable last Thursday, the Padres in the next 6 games should go 5-1. They need to go 5-1. We'd love to take 6-0, but they should probably go 5-1. We all said it. Ben asked the question to everybody finishing up the roundtable last Thursday. In the next 6 games, what do you want to see the Padres do? Thinking about trying to win the division, thinking about trying to get on a roll in September, leading you into October. And everybody said 5-1. Now, that was before we found out that Xander Bogaerts was going to miss a significant amount of time. That was before, obviously, Jason Adam got hurt. That was before, obviously, Fernando got a little bit of a tweak of a hamstring, on Sunday, didn't play Monday. So there are some circumstances that have been built in there. But for the betterment of all of us in the roundtable, it'd be nice for the Padres to go at least 2-4 now in the 6-game stretch. To go 1-5 after everybody said they need to go 5-1 would be catastrophically bad. And yet another missed opportunity last night. I mean, the Dodgers are not playing that great of baseball either. We've talked about that ad nauseum since the All-Star break. The Dodgers haven't been playing that great of baseball. They have just left the Padres hanging around, and yet the Padres have yet to take advantage of yet another great opportunity. Last night, with the Dodgers in Pittsburgh, the Pirates beat the Dodgers, what was it, like 9-7 or something like that? 9-8?
It was 9-7.
9-7. Padres can't beat Baltimore after they can't beat the Minnesota Twins over the weekend. Bad teams. I mean, it's going against all their characteristics, right? I mean, the Padres going into last weekend against the Twins, we talked about it. The Padres had the best record in Major League Baseball and the least amount of losses against teams with a losing record. The Padres are good against bad teams, which has not been the case the last handful of years. And they play 2 teams in the American League that just are awful, that traded away all their good players. Shoot, the Padres have 2 of the best Orioles right now, Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano. Yet it's been a struggle the last couple of days for San Diego against Baltimore. It's been a struggle over the weekend against the Minnesota Twins, losing 2 out of 3. And now, after today, you got to get an off day in Colorado, and you got the Rockies for 3 games in Denver. And then after that, you're going to have the Rockies again back here in San Diego, mixed with the Reds in town. The Reds haven't played good baseball either. That's also a saving grace. But you're looking at the Padres in terms of the standings in Major League Baseball, losing their ground on the New York Mets. Cubs are separating themselves from the San Diego Padres now with a 4-game lead in the wild card. Padres are 2.5 games back behind LA, which is basically 3 games because LA owns the tiebreaker. And your lead against Cincinnati is now 6 games. But Cincinnati's played bad baseball recently too. And I think they're about to petter out. They got the Mets and they got the Padres back-to-back series. They could be ended by next week. By this time next week, the Reds could just be out of the playoffs, and then all of a sudden you're worried about seeding at that point in time. But I'm not necessarily worried about other teams. I'm worried about the Padres because, again, this is not about this. These last 3.5 weeks, and for the month of September, is about getting ready for October. It's not necessarily about trying to chase down the Cubs or holding off the Reds or holding off the Mets for the 5 seed or trying to track down the Dodgers, as much as a lot of people would love to see that happen. I think until you get to the point where it's like a one game and you put the pressure on over the last 2 weeks, you could talk about that. But right now, the Padres need to find a way to bounce back and overcome what has been a little bit of a drought right now. And a lot of that, to me, is starting pitching. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Starting pitching for the Padres has not been very good. Dylan Cease has not been good all year. He has had a lot of little bright spots, but he has not been great all year. Yu Darvish has been incredibly inconsistent. That continued last night. It was all over the place. Not finding the location that he needs. I mean, his pitch mix was still solid, but he's leaking stuff over the heart of the plate, or he's missing drastically outside of the zone. So starting pitching is a big question. I mean, your 2 guys that you think are going to be the ones that carry you in the postseason. One's Nick Pivetta, who has come back down to earth a little bit. He still has a really solid year. I still have confidence in Nick Pivetta. The other one's Michael King. And we still don't know where Michael King is. I mean, he's still trying to come back, but he has missed so much of the season that with every week that he misses now is a week for him to get tuned up and ready for October. Because what you don't want to have is Michael King to come back a week to go or a week and a half to go, even 2 weeks to go, and only get maybe 2 starts and then expect him to pitch game 1 of whatever playoff series. And right now it's going to be a wild card series unless you can start turning things around against bad clubs. And you got more bad clubs on the way. Colorado for 7 more games. You got to play Baltimore again today. You look at the rest of the month, and there's not a lot of great teams on there, but you also have a couple of teams in there that are competing. I mean, Cincinnati's going to be playing for their lives next week. Milwaukee is trying to play for the 1 seed. And all of a sudden, the Cubs are trying to track them down. They've pulled it in striking distance, so Milwaukee's going to be playing for something. The New York Mets are trying to track the Padres down for the 5 seed and not have to get the 6 to play Philadelphia or LA in the first round of the playoffs. So there are some series in there that are going to be tough for the Padres as well. These were the games that you were supposed to rack up a lot of wins. These were the games that were supposed to get you back into the division race. A series that was tied, a race that was tied a week ago. And as mentioned in the YouTube chat right now, it sucks because the Dodgers are trying to hand it. They are. I mean, look at the way the Dodgers are playing. They are keeping the Padres around. They are like they're asking for the Padres to take the division from them. They're asking for it. And yet you're not making any progress. You're not taking care of business. You're not playing good baseball, which is crazy because a couple of weeks ago, the Padres were playing really great baseball. The starting pitching is not great right now. Obviously needs to be fixed or addressed. I don't know what they're going to do, but at the very least, get into the game a little bit. I mean, the amount of pitches getting thrown early in these contests, the amount of walks being allowed early in these contests, the fact that the pitching staff, from the starting perspective, can't go more than 3 innings right now or 4 innings is killing a bullpen that is one of the best in baseball, but now has 1 less member of that staff. And you're not getting him back. Starting pitching needs to be better. The clutch hitting needs to be better too. I mean, last night, multiple opportunities against Baltimore to tie the game back up, add more runs, get the lead back with important players up to bat. I mean, that's what you need those guys to go out there and perform. And you haven't been doing that. And so from the perspective of how they've been playing and how they've been playing during the stretch, Those are all things that need to be fixed and addressed. And I don't know if they're pressing yet. It looks like a little bit of pressing. I think they're frustrated that they haven't been able to have success against some of the poorer teams right now in the American League. But the other thing, too, I mean, as Tony Gwynn Jr. alludes to all the time, they got major league players over there, and guess what? They can play spoiler for a lot of good teams. You're going to get a lot of teams' best. They're not going to roll over. I mean, if you're a team like Colorado, or even a team like Baltimore, Minnesota, right? 2 American League teams, they don't really care if the Padres make the playoffs or not, but you got a team that's competing for a playoff spot. You got a team that's competing for a pennant in the other league. Those are games that you get geared up for as an athlete. Those are games that are fun. Like, this matters to them. Let's go out. Let's see what we can do. I think that is going to be the case for the rest of the month. You're seeing that with other teams against the Dodgers, too. I mean, Pittsburgh got fired up to play them last night. And you've seen that a lot out of the competition the Dodgers have faced. You're in that group now. So you're going to get everybody's best. There's no coasting down the stretch. But the thing is you shouldn't be worried about other teams. You got to be worried about what do we need to do to get ourselves ready for October. And right now, the Padres are not doing that. It's been a rough 6 days, 6 games, if you will. We want to date back to the games against Seattle. And the American League has been a problem for the Padres. You know, we all say, I think the National League is better than the American League overall. But the American League against the Padres has been very good. And so I don't know what the problem is with that, but they're going to have to fix that problem. They've had a lot of success at home, the Padres have had, and a lot of that's because of you fans out there. But being able to win on the road is going to be huge in the playoffs. They haven't been able to do that, and right now they've kind of struggled in the first couple of games at home. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. We're a packed show today at the Loft. If you get here to the ballpark early, come up to the top of the west, or the third level of the Western Metal Supply Company building. They got a bar up here. It's open to the public. Have a drink. Come out, hang out with us. We'll get you ready for Sam Levitt, who will take over at 12:10 today for the Ecowater SoCal Padres pregame show. We'll talk a lot of Padres baseball today. We'll get your phone calls as well, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. But to talk a little bit more about this series, a little preview of today's game, we are going to be joined live at the Loft when we come back with Ben Wagner, who is the Orioles broadcaster. He will join me next as we're just getting started here on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back to the Braden Surprenant Show, live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. We are going 10 to 12:10 today as we get you ready for the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. We're up here at the Loft of the Western Metal Supply Company building. Thanks again for tuning in today. And again, if you get to the ballpark early, come up to the Loft, come hang out with us. We're taking you up to the pregame show. We're going to talk a little bit more about the game today against the Baltimore Orioles as their play-by-play broadcaster Ben Wagner joins us up here live at the Loft. Ben, what's going on? Thanks for walking over and hanging out with us for a little bit.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to be on the show and allowing me one more trip around this beautiful ballpark. This is the first time that I've been to San Diego, period, let alone being able to work Major League Baseball games. And I'm telling you, it did not disappoint. The entire experience has been awesome.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your, it is a business trip for you. Obviously, it's a work trip, but how much of San Diego have you been able to enjoy? What's kind of your favorite part of being here as somebody that's never been here before?
I don't know where to start and certainly won't be able to finish about how much I've enjoyed my trip here. So our trip started in San Francisco. We flew in on late-ish Sunday night, went out. The whole district was hopping around the ballpark, which was an awesome experience. And I've had colleagues for years tell me, like, you're going to love it. When you get a chance to go, you're going to love it. Get out, do all the things. So it started with just walking around the ballpark area, the gas lamp district. And then we had the Labor Day afternoon game. So I was an adult and I behaved myself and, got up early with some prep and then just really tried to enjoy the first Petco Park experience. And I knew Major League Baseball has referenced Padres games as the happening place to be. And not only is the baseball really good, but so is the atmosphere here. And it certainly didn't disappoint. And then I was a tourist on Tuesday morning. I got up really early. Again, I'm operating on Eastern time, right? So my eyes were popping open at like 6 a.m. 7 o'clock, I was on the way to Coronado. And I just walked the beach a little bit. I found a couple of cozy spots to do some pregame prep, hung out, and then early afternoon made my way back to the ballpark. And, thankfully for all Orioles fans that have made the trip in here too, it's been a couple of really nice ball games as well. So
yeah, some very good ball games for the Baltimore Orioles. And going into the season, obviously the expectations were a lot higher than what they have been able to achieve. Again, a couple of good days here of baseball in San Diego, but at what point, at the beginning of the season, it seemed like it was, well, they're going to get out of this. So that we expect them to get out of this. And then they never really did. What was the initial kind of first couple of months of the Orioles season of where things started to go wrong?
Well, the list started 2 games into the regular season. You lose Colton Cowser on a diving play at first base. He fractures his thumb. You lose Albert Suarez, which was probably an unsung hero from 2024 in the role that he helped the Orioles through, knowing you would be depleted in starting pitching at some point across the year. You had guys as insurance policies stacked up, but what you didn't know is you were going to lose an entire year of Grayson Rodriguez. And that was the kind of the carrot dangling in front of everybody's face. Could your ace get back into the rotation? And by the time around the quarter pole, about 40, 46 games, you got the sense that 1, the pitching would never be settled. 2, the injuries would continue to mount up. And that's when you thought, you know what? This thing isn't going to go the way that the Orioles had projected. And there were a lot of projections. Certainly a sexy pick for the Orioles to be in the World Series. I thought when the schedule came out, oh my God, we've got a World Series preview when we come to San Diego. It could be the Padres, it could be the Orioles, and a deep run through the fall if it works out for both franchises. But the injury situation from the pitching is where it starts for me. Losing Grayson Rodriguez, the inconsistency with Zach Eflin, and him shuttling on and off the injured list too. Those are the 1-2 punches. And there wasn't enough in the organization. There wasn't enough in the tank to overcome that. And then you got to think about losing Colton Cowser, Jordan Westberg, which is a horse in the middle of this lineup, and Adley Rutschman. So 3 major cogs that have not been able to play together hardly at all this season. And you see the result. And unfortunately, the performance also then led to a managerial change. Tony's done a really nice job with the ball club and keeping energy up, but injuries, number 1 bullet point to talk about the Orioles in 2025.
We're talking with Ben Wagner as the Orioles play-by-play broadcaster here live at the Loft as we get you ready for Padres and Orioles coming up at 1:10 pregame show with Sam Levitt. The EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show with Sam Levitt at 12:10. You start to talk about, has been some obviously bright spots, and there's a bright future for the Orioles in terms of a lot of the young players that they have. But a couple of the big bright spots this season for Baltimore, Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn, now members of the San Diego Padres. And, we've seen, Ramon Laureano has basically carried the Padres since he has arrived. But, you got to watch more of their seasons than we have. What can you tell us more about Ryan O'Hearn and Ramon Laureano that Padres fans haven't already learned themselves?
If you haven't fallen in love with both of them yet, go on board and just dive in with both feet, because they're awesome dudes. They're great clubhouse guys, and they're veterans, which I think from Ramon Laureano's career and his trajectory with some setbacks as well, he's enjoying the biggest and most productive season of his career. That's identified number one as statistics, but two, just where he is as a person, where he has a place in the game. And it started last year when he was swapped from Cleveland going to Atlanta and got an opportunity. And the Orioles were a dominant left-handed lineup, and they thought, man, we need to get more balance, get a right-handed hitter in here, somebody that can go out and also take away runs. And this is a guy tailor-made to join the Baltimore Orioles. I thought another guy that they would keep as well because of the controllability. He would have been a nice piece moving forward, but when A.J. Preller got aggressive and knocked on the door with Mike Elias, it was a deal that was just too good to refuse as the Orioles turn the page from this season looking now to the future. But Laureano is somebody that opened eyes, turned heads, and was immediately a dude. From the moment that he walked into spring training, his regimen, and where he was in Oakland, and then seeking the people don't, I don't think, give enough credit to how regimented Ramon Laureano is, but that's a byproduct of being around Marcus Semien and Matt Chapman. Two guys that if the clock says 2 o'clock, they know exactly where they're going to be at 2 p.m., regardless of the time zone they're in. And Laureano fits that suit too. So he sells out to the process. And of course, now the results are up there and showing. And he's been a one-man wrecking ball for this Padres club right now. And then Ryan O'Hearn is somebody that I think every person can relate to, because he has been on the scrap heap. He has been left behind. He has had to fight, scratch, and claw for every opportunity. And that opportunity was Baltimore, for him to not only reach the major leagues again, but be a significant role player in the major leagues and somebody that's leaned on, and he became an all-star. It's a remarkable story for both these guys, and they're just incredible people.
And the Padres and their Padres fans are really happy to have him part of their organization, at least for this year. You mentioned the controllability. I would imagine, with the club option that the Padres now control with Ramon Laureano, very cheap. We'll see if they decide to take it or not. I would imagine they probably would. As for Baltimore now, so the trade deadline happens, and the benefit for Baltimore is they had a lot of guys on expiring contracts, that they could ship off. And they have a lot of young, controllable players, a lot of bright stars in that Orioles system. Obviously, the loss of Adley Rutschman for most of the season has been tough, but got another catcher and Basala that has been up and it has a bright future. A lot of young, great, talented players that a lot of fans already know, but some other names that that maybe some fans might want to start paying attention to.
I keep waiting for the lineup to come out, because I'm interested if Samuel Basallo will be behind the plate for consecutive games. Tough to do night game after a day game with how they're controlling some of his playing time, but he also can cycle in at first base. So in a day that baseball is all about versatility, here you have a premium position and an elite talent, and Basallo is somebody offensively. The modern day comp, or the current comp, is Yordan Alvarez. Incredible power, incredible body strength, especially in the top, generating a lot of bat speed with, one, the way that he's framed out, but two, lightning quick hands. So Alvarez is a comp. I've often referenced him to some people in the game, to Ryan Howard as well. So left-handed slugger, incredible upside. Basallo is one of these guys that the Orioles are all in on. And Basallo is also all in on the Orioles. He signed an 8-year contract extension and the mere hours after his major league debut. And he wanted to be here, and he said he wants to be in Baltimore for the duration of his career. So that's really exciting, and one piece of this puzzle that you can look at for the future. And it doesn't stop, right? You've got talent with Dylan Beavers that's out there. There's a host of prospects that are also still in the minor leagues, but guys that are getting auditions right now and open tryouts to see where they could be moving forward in the future. the future is bright, and I really enjoy talking about prospect status, prospect capital, and how you can utilize it. I don't think that this front office, though, is necessarily going to turn away a blockbuster deal in the offseason and, say that these are, number one, take Basayo out of the equation, but the prospect pool that's in the minor leagues too. I think the prospect pool that's there has the ability for them to be really aggressive and however creative they want to be to turn this ship around. Because from the young players that are here, certainly there are needs, and you're going to go out and have to address them. And you can do it at international free agent market, like the Padres are so familiar in navigating. You can do it with pure free agency, open up the purse strings, but then you can get creative and do some stuff in trades. And they've got to address the lineup because they need a big, hairy guy in the middle of it to get things done. They've got to rebuild the bullpen, and I still think they're after a couple of starters.
We're talking with play-by-play man of the Baltimore Orioles, Ben Wagner, here on the Braden Surprenant Show. We're live at the Loft, getting ready for Padres baseball. We'll take you up to 12:10 today before Sam Levitt takes over on the Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Let's talk about today's matchup. Kate Povich against Nestor Cortez. What can you tell us about the pitcher for the Orioles today?
Yeah, lefty that's kind of feeling himself out. He's been used a couple of different ways this season with openers in front of him, I think 2 or 3 times. I don't know that is the best Cade Povich. I think the Orioles moving forward are going to say, hey, listen, as a starter, as your routine, we want you in the best position possible, and that is to keep your routine, because the experiment of the opener just hasn't gone that well. And with 4 starts, maybe 5, depending on how the days plot out, and the Orioles moving into the 6-man rotation could, tinker with that a little bit. But he's a guy that has a developing sweeper. He's got a big curveball, which has been his bread and butter. Not an overpowering fastball at all, but somebody that when he pitches downhill and is aggressive first with the fastball, his secondary stuff can build on. And that is the next step for him, is to figure out how to pitch. One, he could throw it and he can spin it, but he's got to figure out now how to navigate lineups and use his stuff to his advantage. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, because the last couple of nights, so many pitches, the inability to put guys away from Dylan Cease or Yu Darvish, that's ratcheted up the pitch count for the Padres starters who haven't been able to escape anything in the 5th inning. Cease is out early. Darvish didn't even record an out in the 5th inning. Povich necessarily doesn't nibble around, but if his pitch count elevates early, it's going to be a long day, and it's going to be somewhat of a meat grinder for him. If he's aggressive, and the start for me, which is the best case scenario, is where and how he pitched against the Philadelphia Phillies, where he had to go lefty on lefty a lot to big-time bats and be aggressive against those big-time bats. That is the Cade Povich we have been waiting a year and a half to see, and the potential dominant stuff is in there. He just has to choose to ratchet it up a gear and go after it and really let it fly early.
I was doing the pregame show a couple of years ago. We used to have Randy Jones on all the time, and that was his biggest talking point. Legendary pitcher here, retired number, Cy Young Award winner. He's like, there's a lot of guys right now in baseball that can throw. There's not a lot of guys that know how to pitch.
Yeah, it's a different mindset, right? On how you can set up, 1, what you're seeing at the plate, and 2, understand the stuff that you've got coming out of the bullpen, because it's not necessarily going to translate, right? I'm sure Randy was talking about this ad nauseum. What you've got in those 20 minutes down in the bullpen necessarily doesn't mean it's going to get carried to the game mound, and you've got to figure it out. And I'm all in on the modern day approach of Major League Baseball, right? And diving into the numbers and saying that this is the best way to curate somebody, getting them to the major leagues. But in the minor leagues, and I've had 14 years of experience. I mean, I was a warrior when it comes to the minor league bus rides. The game has shifted in its approach where it's just so coddled. Guys don't understand how to figure it out on the mound when either they're tired or they don't have it that day. And all of a sudden, if they don't have it that day, you see young pitchers kind of looking in the dugout with these puppy dog eyes like, can you come get me today? And that's just that's not how life is going to work in the major leagues at all. You've got to figure it out sometimes. You've got to save your bullpen sometimes. And if you don't understand that earlier in your career, it's going to be a very, very sharp learning curve in the major leagues, because you're going to get dinged around. So I agree with Randy. I mean, he's He nailed it right on the head. Guys have to learn how to pitch, and I think that will also be the success of Cade Povich and some of these younger arms that we've got in the big leagues right now in Baltimore.
Last thing for you, Ben. We have had so many broadcasters on this show, and as somebody that is also a broadcaster, I do play-by-play for the University of San Diego. I like to pick the brains of the broadcasters, but we have a lot of high school kids that tune into our show that want to get into this business. And I also coach high school football. We were up in San Francisco last week, and they had a student broadcast, and I got to talk to some of those kids that were running the broadcast. And it's cool to see young people want to do what we do. And so I ask these questions all the time. Your best advice to anybody that's in high school right now, or even a kid that wants to get into broadcasting. We've asked a lot of people this. We asked John Miller this a couple weeks ago. What is your best advice? And, how did you get to where you are right now?
Well, one, I've been there. I was the high school kid that wrote letters and called local radio stations, salivating at an opportunity to get some sort of experience. Let me empty trash cans. Let me run the board. Let me work the phone, for out-of-town scores. Please let me do that. And I was fortunate enough to have a mentor at 15, 16 years of age that said, sure, tag along with me. And he gave me the toolbox, essentially, because he made me. Now I'm going to go back to the mid-90s here, okay? So stick with me, all you young people that don't understand what a real phone line is and setting up phone lines for a broadcast. And you've got to run the phone line from the back wall of a gymnasium in northern Indiana and then string the telephone line all the way to your broadcast location courtside at a high school gym in the Hoosier State. I had to do that. I cut my teeth. So not only did I get an opportunity at a very early age to be on the broadcast, but I also have an appreciation of what it takes to get the broadcast up and running. So if you can do that, please jump in and just immerse yourself with all facets of the game. Call the coaches ahead of time so you can get your prep work underway. Call the facility that you're going to do the broadcast to make sure your Ethernet or your Wi-Fi is up and running. What resources you have available, do that. And the number one thing off of that is you learn by doing. For me, I learned so much by doing the broadcasts and making mistakes, and mistakes are fine. Review your work. What do you like about yourself? Are you happy with the way you sound on the air? Are you not happy with the way you sound on the air? Seek some people that you really enjoy and are your heroes. What do they think about the way you sound on the air? So I really encourage that for feedback. Take it with open arms. Some you agree with, some you might not agree with, and don't be afraid to grow when you're on the broadcast either. Major League Baseball, what do we say? 10,000 words a night? There are going to be stutters. There are going to be slip-ups. You might swallow, a letter, or maybe not a hard K or a T, at the end of a pronunciation. That's fine. That's fine. We can all just keep getting better day on and day out. But I always wanted to do, and the prime example is our college radio station was the flagship for the women's basketball team. And I wanted to get better on the mechanics of broadcasting, and to do 20 to 30 women's basketball broadcasts a year gave me the foundation of rights, lefts, up, down, the mechanics of the hardwood and the description, because we're painting a picture when we're on the radio. We have to do that literally for the people that are trying to live it for us. And getting these easy steps make everything else kind of fall into form. And that's when you can drop in, the nuggets that you learned from a coach or a player or a conversation that you had down on the field. I love to do that. And again, I wouldn't be able to do that. I don't think anybody in our business would be able to do that unless they got an opportunity and unless they worked at those opportunities. So again, the number one thing that I will say is you learn by doing. And if you're not doing the broadcast, then you're not ready to do a broadcast. So get out there and really test the waters.
Ben, I couldn't say it better myself. I really appreciate the time. We're long overdue for a break, but thanks again, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
Anytime. Thanks, Braden. I really appreciate it.
Ben Wagner joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. Live at the Loft. When we come back, we'll talk more about this Padres-Orioles game. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:43 on a Wednesday morning out here in America's finest city. We're at the Loft up in the third deck of the Western Metal Supply Company building, getting ready for Padres baseball. Padres and Orioles, game 3 of a 3-game series. Padres trying to avoid getting swept at home against Baltimore. I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. Overwhelmed by processed foods, U.S. Wellness Meats offers an all-natural alternative, 100% grass-fed beef, pork, poultry, wild-caught seafood, and more. Ship free from family farms. Get 20% off your first order at uswellnessmeats.com. That was great talking with Bill Wagner. Good job, Frank.
Yeah, thank you.
Organizing that. He was early, too. Walked over here.
He got a nice little chance to look around the loft a little bit as well.
He loved the Loft.
Oh, yeah.
He said this is like the coolest thing he's ever seen.
Yeah, he said this was 29 of 30 of the ballparks that he's been to. So he's almost there. And, he looks like he's looked and told us that he really loved this experience this week.
His last stadium he has to go to is St. Louis. Apparently.
Yes,
he hasn't been to
did.
St. Louis yet. I heard St. Louis is fun. I haven't been to St. Louis yet. I've had a lot of friends go to St. Louis. I've been to, I don't know how many. I've been to every ballpark in California with the exception of Oakland, which I'll never now go to, / Sacramento, I guess. So here, obviously, Angel Stadium, Dodger Stadium, Oracle, back when it was AT&T. Been to Texas. Ranger. I haven't been to the new Ranger ballpark. I've been to the old one. Colorado, one of my favorites. Been to New York for the Yankees. I haven't been to City yet. Where else have I been? Cincinnati and Wrigley were the other ones that I've been to. So nice little decent list right there.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around too much. I've been here, old Yankee Stadium. Haven't been to the new one yet. I've been to both Shea and City. Anaheim, and I believe that's it. Like I haven't been around nearly as much as I would like to be. Honestly.
I love Coors Field. I think Coors Field's sweet. And the other thing too, the way we talked with Ben, it was awesome. You know, we ask every broadcaster their best advice, and he you could tell that lightened him up a little. He was excited to talk about it. And you know what, I was up. We played St. Francis last week. That all student broadcast, film and everything, and they had these 2 old boards radio boards that they were using. It was cool. And so I talked to them a little bit and told them what I did and, told them about TCU sports broadcasting and all that stuff and told them to check out the YouTube. And
you're a recruiter is what you are.
I'm the best recruiter TCU doesn't pay for. Loading up on the sports broadcasting department. Come on. So, I told them I interviewed John Miller on the show and they obviously know who John Miller is up there in San Francisco. So, told them about, go look at the YouTube and everything like that. But it's funny, like Ben brought this up on the roundtable last week or the week before about your first ever broadcast.
Ben.
Yes, Ben Higgins. And the one I said was I talked about like my first radio shift that I had at TCU. But, my first real kind of broadcast out back here, one of my first broadcasts, my first broadcast ever was for volleyball. Volleyball was the first sport I ever did play-by-play for real because TCU volleyball needed a play-by-play person. And so I decided that I was like, I'll do it, whatever. Nobody else wanted to do volleyball. They're like, oh, I want to do football. I want to do basketball. I'm like, I'll do whatever. I don't really care. So I did TCU volleyball. But then when I came back to San Diego, I wanted to coach football and broadcast. And before I had like I was part-time working the board for the Padres when we were on 94.9 at the time, still part of the Entercom, now Odyssey empire. And I was running Padre games and then coaching football. And then I was calling the varsity games. And so trying to get as many reps as possible, I convinced, and he still does it. He runs the stream, Matt. His name's Matt Nguyen. He does a great job. I mean, he's got like a drone that he flies around. It looks like there's a blimp at Cathedral games for their live stream. His work is some of the best. I don't know why any of the local colleges haven't hired him to be their full-time producer and director of their games because he's so great at what he does, and he has all his own equipment. He's employed by Cathedral, so I don't want him to leave Cathedral, but at the same time, he's better than doing high school games. But this is when he started to do streaming. So me and him decided to stream the Cathedral Helix game at Helix. So with that particular situation, we obviously needed like place to set up and internet and all this other stuff. And I remember we set up in the away stands at Helix, getting ready for the varsity game. And we were trying to find a way. And he has like all this elaborate equipment that needs like some serious oomph. And so we were looking for power and we were looking for internet. So we found power in one of the light towers, and it wouldn't work. And we're running cables like through and trying to keep it down. And like over at Helix, the track goes behind. He goes behind the stands over there at Helix.
So you were nice and hidden, running across the track and everything.
So I'm going back and forth behind the stands. We're trying to get it up. It's like 6:30. Like game starts at 7:00. And so we plug it in and we're like, okay, does this have any power? We're like, no, it doesn't have any power. It's not hot. We're like, okay, we got to try to find somewhere. There's a power line on the other side at the school. And then they turn the lights on. All of a sudden we had power. He's like, I got power. I'm like, perfect. So instead of getting prepared for a game, I'm trying to get this thing on the air, right? And then the problem was the internet. His hotspot for some reason like wouldn't work. There's no hard line, obviously, anywhere near the away stands. Helix already said they didn't have like a room in the press box to like stream the game. So one kid from Helix, and I don't know how I was doing stuff for San Diego Prep Insider back then. He said, and I don't know how he followed me on Instagram or whatever like that. And I said I was doing the broadcast. And so he comes over and he gives me the login for the student Wi-Fi at Helix. And his student Wi-Fi was enough to keep all the equipment on for my broadcast, for the stream, to stream the game for the Don's Network or whatever it was called at the time. We got on the air as they were kicking off. I lost all my notes. They got blown away. And luckily I prepared enough where I just knew I had my boards memorized. And the funny thing is at the time, my boss at Odyssey had his son at Cathedral, and he was like, he watched the whole thing, and that kind of led to some other opportunities to getting me on the air. But that whole story that Ben talked about, Ben Wagner, who joined us, the Orioles broadcaster, about just, finding opportunities to go out there and do it, it really spoke to me, because that's exactly what I did at that time. And like doing the high school games. I mean, there are so many great writers out there in national media, people that started doing high school football in San Diego. Like Jim Rome used to call high school football games in San Diego. Scott Miller, the great Scott Miller, who passed away this year, he got to start doing stuff at the San Diego Union Tribune, doing high school football in San Diego. Buster Only, another guy that's covered high school football in San Diego. Chris Ello used to do it back in the day. I mean, so many people have started with, doing stuff in high school football here in San Diego. Adam Rank from NFL Network used to call into the high school football show on Fridays and give updates for the local radio station. So it's pretty cool. Everybody, like, where you cut your teeth and get started in this business. It's a tough business, but I always love asking the broadcasters how they got into it.
Yeah, it's incredible insight as well as to what you need to do. And fortunately and unfortunately, I haven't gone through any of that stuff. For those of you who don't know, and I don't believe I've said it, the first time I was ever on air here in San Diego was not on 97.3. It was on City College's radio station, KSDS. I still have the for those of you watching on YouTube, I still have the little chain there. So I kept that around with me. I did a show Monday and Friday nights from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I figured, well, perfect. Monday, you come in, review the NFL week, and that being at the end of the baseball season, you do a little bit of that as well. And on Friday night, you get to talk about what was going on in the next week. So that was a lot of fun, and it fortunately led to me going out to New York and starting this as a career. And I've been bumps along the way for me personally, but I've never been happier doing what I do now, and it's because of KSDS, Student Delivered Sound at City College.
Started at KTCU. I mean, college radio was so much fun, and again, anybody that wants to get into the business, it's a fun business. It's not, adventure that everybody always talks about. There's no money in it. If there's no money in it, then nobody would be doing it. But we'd be doing this for, we'd be doing this anyway. It's like that song from.
We pretty much already do.
Right, yeah, all of us. But we have a blast doing it. We have a blast talking with you guys, and we're gonna talk. We're going to talk Padres baseball here in the next hour. We got a lot to break down on this Padres team. We do have a lineup out now, which is great. The Padres have put their lineup out, so we'll talk about that in the next hour as well. It was great. It was good talking with Ben Wagner, the Orioles broadcaster, of a lot of different things. And, I mean, the biggest takeaway in terms of the Padres was just how much of an impact Ramon Laureano had on this Baltimore Orioles team when he was there, how valuable he is as a clubhouse guy for the San Diego Padres, and goes back to talking about his days with the Athletics, with Matt Chapman, and with guys like Trevor Simeon and stuff like that, and how much of an impact it made on Laureano. But I think that's a big reason why the Padres went out and got Ramon Laureano. But right now, Padres aren't playing that well. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that because it is go time as we get you ready for the next hour of the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Baseball Talk on the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese, we're here at the Loft getting ready for Padres baseball. 12:10, Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show. First pitch at 1:10. Padres trying to salvage this series against Baltimore before going to Colorado for a 3-game series this weekend. They will come back here, take on Cincinnati and the Rockies, and we will be halfway through September after that point in time, which means we're getting closer to October baseball. Padres really need to get it into gear a little bit after this, 6-game stretch that's been relatively awful. And if you want to add the 3-game series against Seattle, not much better. 1-2 against Seattle, 1-2 against the Twins, and now the best they can do is go 1-2 against Baltimore, which is not great to go 3-6 in 9 games, especially not right now when you're trying to get back into a division race, be able to compete with the LA Dodgers, trying to track down maybe the Chicago Cubs to host a wild card round here at Petco Park. I mean, there's all of these things that are on the line, and I know there's injuries right now, but that's not an excuse. You got to be able to overcome a lot of the problems that the Padres have had and be ready to go. It is go time now for San Diego. We are the Braden Surprenant Show. We are live each and every day from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday, more times than not. Today we're up till 12:10 again for the Padres game, and we'll be back again tomorrow. We got NFL football tomorrow. Cowboys and Eagles, which as Frank, as the resident Giants fan, is probably throwing up, having to hear about the Cowboys and the Eagles to kick off the season. But, who's the enemy of your enemy in that particular case?
I hate Dallas, but I hate Philadelphia more. Just the city as a whole, I hate more. So we'll go with the Eagles on that one. I don't want. Can they tie? Can we have Can we have an opening game tie, please? Like, that's my one wish for the NFL season this year. Just an opening game tie.
Opening game tie for the Giants fan. Hey, I guess that's better than wishfully thinking that they could both lose.
Stranger things can happen. No, stranger things have happened, by the way.
That's true. Stranger things have happened. But yes, the Cowboys and Eagles are on tomorrow. I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that game's on 97 through the Fan tomorrow. It is. So again, since we've got a Padres off day, we're your home for the NFL throughout the season. We will have Eagles and Cowboys on Thursday. We will not have Chargers Chiefs on Friday because we got Padres baseball. Honestly, it's the best of both worlds. You get Padres baseball, and when you don't have Padres baseball, you get the NFL. I mean, it's the best of both worlds. And
what makes it even better is you get to snub the Chargers off of a radio spot here.
Yeah, exactly. That's even better. We got Navy football on Saturdays too. Great. It's a place to be in the fall. All right, let's talk about this Padres team. Everybody wants to jump off the bandwagon already. It's been 3 series in a row. Okay, they're going to go through down stretches. I think having a level head here will freak out. It freaks out a lot of fans. Having a level head. Okay, here's what you need to know. Time is running out for the Padres. They got to get it into gear. Now, as of right now, I don't care. And until the Padres can start to win on a consistent basis during this stretch, I don't really care what the Dodgers are doing. I don't care what the Cubs are doing. I don't really care what the Reds are doing. And I don't care what the Mets are doing. Because the Padres are going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. They have a 99% chance of making the playoffs. We are not in the panic mode yet of the Padres aren't going to make the playoffs. They're going to make it. Their style of play right now and how they are playing right now is not good enough to win in the postseason. And everybody knows that. So until you fix those problems and start playing better baseball, I don't really care what everybody else is doing because these are problems that need to be fixed. Here is how it lays out. The Padres, after last night's loss, fall to 18-26 against the American League this year, which is shocking to me because the American League is not very good. The American League is not very good. So it's shocking to me that is the record that the Padres have. The Padres are 2.5 games behind Los Angeles after last night. And the Dodgers, again, lost last night. Another missed opportunity for San Diego to try to climb back into this thing. And here's the deal. With how easy the Dodgers schedule is and with how easy the Padres schedule is, you can't miss on a lot of opportunities to try to get games back. The clock is ticking. You're running out of time to try to track them down. And remember, it's 2.5 right now, but it's really 3 because the Padres don't have the tiebreaker over Los Angeles. The Dodgers have the tiebreaker. You have to outdo them by a game. Okay, you can't finish tied. They're running out of time to do that. Mets and Cubs both gained a game last night after their wins. Cubs have now separated themselves. They have a 4-game lead on San Diego. The Padres are closer to winning a division than they are to getting a home game right now in the wild card. That's where you're at. The New York Mets have pulled within 1 game of the San Diego Padres to the point where the Padres would have to be the 6th seed, and then they're going to Philadelphia or they're going to L.A. in the first round of the playoffs. I mean, could you imagine a Dodgers-Padres wild card series in Los Angeles? I don't want to imagine that. That sounds like hell. That sounds awful. That literally sounds awful. Now, if you beat them twice up there, that'd be sick and get rid of the Dodgers. But that sounds awful. So there is still a lot to play for. Padres have lost 7 of their last 9 and have lost their last 3 series. I mean, this is a critical point in the season where you can't be dropping 3 straight series. And you're losing to 2 non-playoff teams. We talked about it. Now sit 2.5 games behind the Dodgers with no head-to-head matchups left. What was a tie atop the National League West over a week ago is now starting to slip away with sloppy play, now with injuries mixed in, underperforming pitching. I mean, the starting pitching has been not great during this stretch. And it has been borderline concerning. Again, I'm not overly concerned about the starting pitching for the playoffs because it's bullpens that do most of the damage in the postseason. But you need somebody to start. And it would be nice to not have to do a bullpen day every single day in October. They're not going to last. I mean, the Dodgers played with fire last year with their bullpen in every single game in last year's postseason run. But you can't really have that. You're not going to have a lot of success doing that. Yu Darvish last night, to go on with the starting pitching that has been kind of a problem, lasted only 4 innings last night. His ERA is ballooned to a 5.75. Cast some doubt on his October roll. And what did we say a couple of weeks ago? It could have been last week. I can't even remember. This team is going to have to rely on Yu Darvish in the postseason. Yu Darvish is the most important player on this Padres team right now. He is the most important pitcher on this Padres team right now because you got Pivetta and you probably are going to have King, although with every coming day that we don't get an update on what his deal is or any announcement of him potentially starting soon, it becomes more of a question mark because you got to get him back up to speed before you throw him to the Wolves in a playoff game. But if you're thinking it's going to be King and Pivetta, you need a third guy. You don't necessarily need 4, but you need a third guy. And right now, Yu Darvish, Dylan Cease, Nestor Cortez, I mean, it's starting to get bad. And it's starting to get a little worrisome. That's why we said Yu Darvish is the most important pitcher to the Padres in October. He's the most important player to the Padres in October. If the Padres want to win a World Series, it's going to have to rely on Yu Darvish. As dramatic as that sounds, that is the fact of the matter. He needs to be a lot better than he's been. And Baltimore had no issues with him again last night. You don't have Xander Bogaerts for at least 4 to 6 weeks. He thinks he could come back near the end of the season. I don't believe that's going to be the case. I think if you get him by the divisional series of the postseason, I think you're lucky. But again, he's got to get back up to speed. Like, he's going to need some type of rehab movement. I mean, I don't, it's going to be like Kyle Schwarber playing in the Arizona Fall League before he get called up for the World Series. I mean, he needs to get back into a groove when he comes back, if he does come back. All-star reliever Jason Adam is out for the season. That complicates the bullpen situation a little bit more. Mike Schilt called this slump, quote, uncharacteristic, while veterans like Darvish and Luis Ariz urged the team to flip the page and grind. That's what they have to do. And here's my thing on the situation at hand with the Padres. There's really nothing you can do about it except for the players doing it themselves. They have to play better. They have to flip a switch. They have to flush it. They have to find ways to win. They have to settle in the box. I mean, we went through this a little bit in the beginning part of the season, right? The excitement of the trade deadline is now worn off. They got to be able to go take care of business on their own terms. And until they do that, you're going to see a lot of the same play over and over and over again. They have to come out of it themselves. That's what winning teams do. That's what good teams do. That's what teams that do damage in October do. They pull themselves out of bad situations, and the Padres have to do that right now as they're in a little bit of a slump here to start the month of September. And you can bitch, moan, and complain all you want. They ain't changing anything. This is the roster. This is the team. There's no more trade deadline. There's nobody on waivers that's going to save the day. None of those guys are eligible for the postseason anyway. This is your roster. These are your 2025 San Diego Padres. There's enough talent and there's enough clubhouse leadership in that group for them to pull it together. And that's why I think they're going to be able to do it. It's just you're going to have to go through some growing pains a little bit along the way. Not every team's going to be perfect in the month of September. They're in a little bit of a slump right now. They got to try to flush it and flip it today against Baltimore. When we come back, we will get you today's starting lineup to see if they can flip the script against the Baltimore Orioles, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the starting pitching and the problem that lays out for the Padres in October if they can't get one more starting pitcher to flip and get you some innings. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. This hour 97 through the Fan brought to you by Islands Restaurant. Islands Restaurant, summer refreshment, paradise, ambiance, and the best burgers in town, like the Big Wave with cheese and fresh cut fries. $10 now for limited time only. Visit one of our Islands restaurants throughout Southern California today. Dine in only. I heard they got a pretty good happy hour too, by the way. So I can tell you last time I was at, I got to get back to Islands, get a Big Wave burger.
I wouldn't know about a happy hour, if I'm honest.
You got they have food deals on happy hour too, Just saying. Got people that don't drink. They got happy hour drinks that are non-alcoholic sometimes. Just saying. How the Mets doing?
Tied 1-1 right now. Apparently, okay, these two are they're just goobers. Garrett Cohen and Keith Hernandez apparently are giggling over something in the game notes. I have no idea what's going on, but it's going the bottom of the fifth inning, 1-1.
All right. Okay, so I bring up the Mets, Frank, because I got, the situation at hand with people in the YouTube chat, right? I mean, it's just, some guy goes like, you guys were funny when you guys had a 6-0 and 5-1 in his next 6 games. Did you see the same team we see? Yeah, I do. But you know what I also see? All the other teams in baseball. I mean, sometimes we look at this in the vacuum and be like, oh, man, every other team's going to be probably so much better than us, and there's no way. Let me ask you, Frank, what's the rotation like for the New York Mets right now?
2 rookies that are somehow outperforming any expectation that was given of them, and 3 veterans who are not performing at all.
That doesn't sound like a very good rotation.
No,
in October.
believe it or not, it's not.
That doesn't sound like it's very good. Okay. Well, the Dodgers have a good rotation, but their bullpen is just giving it up the last 4 nights in a row. They got lucky they won one of those games. They have major flaws with their starting staff, with their pitching staff. Who else? Philadelphia doesn't have the same starting staff they had about 2 weeks ago, and they are arguably the best starting staff in Major League Baseball. Milwaukee's been pitching well. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. But you look at the National League. I mean, even Cincinnati, right? You want to throw Cincinnati in there. Their pitching staff is okay. It's not, I mean, Nick Martinez is their ace, man. I love Nick Martinez. Don't get me wrong. Nick Martinez is great. Nick Martinez is their one. And then they got some young guys that don't have the experience for the September stretch in October, and they haven't been playing well.
You look at you go to the Chicago Cubs, Shota Imanaga is not pitching well right now.
No.
Michael's a Cubs fan. I hear him freaking out all the time about the Cubs starting pitching rotation.
And the Cubs pitching staff has been awful all year. That was their biggest problem guess what they didn't do at the deadline?
They didn't go get pitching.
Address their pitching staff.
Ben Brown's, didn't Ben Brown, or was one of their young starters, got sent to the minors this year.
And they lost Steele at the beginning of the season. I mean, I'm telling you guys. As bad as it seems, like it's not. You have to start. And I hate comparing against other teams because the Padres aren't playing well, and they got to start playing a lot better. But like roster construction wise and everything put together, this team is still one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, despite a couple of injuries here and there. I mean, you have to watch some other games every once in a while and watch some of these other teams. I mean, there's not a team out there, and we talk about the National League because I think the National League is way better than the American League. And the Padres have struggled against American League teams this year. But I look at the American League right now. Who is the team that you're terrified to play?
Right now, Baltimore, Minnesota, Seattle.
Seattle's actually like a playoff team.
I mean,
Chicago White Sox might be a problem for the Padres.
Yeah, they're coming up soon too. I mean,
who are you afraid to play? Like, who's the team? I'll put it this way. Who is the 84 Tigers over there? Who are the 98 Yankees?
I mean, you would say Houston because of the postseason experience, but even they haven't been good. Framber Valdez just crossed up his catcher, what seemed like on purpose last night, because he gave up a grand slam.
That was wild.
That was, as a catcher, as somebody who grew up as a catcher, like I played catcher in Little League and in high school, I would have either walked off or I would have smacked him on the mound for that.
He looked like he was going to go fight him.
He should have.
And then he took a deep breath and realized that would have been probably worse.
He absolutely should have. I don't. I mean, you could say the Yankees, of course. Toronto. We keep overlooking Toronto. They have been a very, very good team this season, and it's been a while since the Padres have played them. But I don't see.
That was a drastically different
Yeah, it was a
Blue Jays and Padres team back then. But
Yeah.
again, that's not a team that you sit there and be like, God, I hope we don't play them. They don't have. It's a very competitive year in Major League Baseball.
It certainly is.
Tigers seem legit too, but then after Tarek Skubal, I mean, the Tigers' second half of the season hasn't been very good. They've been all right.
Yeah, and for those of you watching on YouTube a second ago, you guys saw me do a double take as far as like pitchers and getting length out of your pitchers. Clay Holmes in the fifth inning right now. He's about to throw pitch number 70. Usually Clay Holmes at pitch number 70 with 2 outs in the third. So, I mean, it has been a very, as you said, it's been a very, very, very competitive season in Major League Baseball. And there's not really a standout team, really, in either league that is a genuine threat. You could, of course, say the Brewers because of what they've done. But we all know also what they've done as far as the postseason is concerned, where they just putter out. They always peak too early. They always crash out. Detroit, same thing. They had an unbelievable start to the year, ran away with the American League Central, and now they're starting to putter out a little bit. So those who got out are starting to fall back to the crowd, and those who are in the crowd are struggling to be able to get out of it.
People are freaking out about some of these things, like the Reds and the Mets are going to pass the Padres. I mean, if you think that's the case, dude, just stop. You got to stop watching. It's just like, I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing I can say about it. I mean, you continue to watch. I don't know why you would put yourself to that misery. The problem is you won't, because you know secretly that you're wrong, and that's not actually going to be the case.
At this rate, there is a legitimate chance that the Mets and Padres do flip in the wild card
game
race.
Back.
And you also, it doesn't help that you play the Mets as well. You play them in September. You got a 3-game series in New York in September in 2 weeks. But
Just got to win one of those games. You win a tiebreaker.
Right. But you have a chance to put, as you said at the top of the show, you have a chance to put any thought of Cincinnati, or we saw it in the chat yesterday, San Francisco, possibly coming and passing this team this weekend. As you said, the Mets play Cincinnati over the weekend, and then Cincinnati comes here. So you have a chance to put that completely to bed come the end of the week, come the end of next week.
It's been 3 series in a row where they lose the series, and all of a sudden it's like, it's done. It's over.
You're going to lose series. It's always going to happen.
Yes.
It is never not going to happen. You're always going to have down times. You're always going to have hot runs. It's just the way this game is. This season is so long that you cannot live and die on every single game that's played. It's not like the NFL where you play every single week. It's not like international soccer where you play once a week. It's a grind. You play every single day. It's going to happen. You are going to find ways to win, and you are going to find ways to lose. Things are going to accidentally happen in and against your favor. It's just the way baseball is.
And here's the thing, too, like with the month of August, I would love to know what would – I got to pull it up, too. I would love to know. And maybe we talk about it in the next segment. But back in 1998, could you imagine if there was social media in 1998? Could you imagine?
Could you imagine where we would be now if there was social media in 98? We'd be so further behind than what we are.
I mean, the Padres in the month of September in 1998 were awful. I mean, awful. I mean, they went into September. They went into September with 90 wins. They had 90 wins on September 1st, and they finished with 98 wins. They won 8 games in the month of September. 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 games in the month of September. I mean, think about that for a second. 8 games in the month of September. In an entire month, they won 8 games. And in that process, they lost. They split a 2-game series with the Mets. They lost 2 out of 3 from Colorado. They lost 2 out of 3 from the Giants. They split with the Dodgers in 4. They played the Cubs for 4, went 1-3. Played Colorado again, lost 2 out of 3. Played the Dodgers in a 2-game series, split, and lost the last regular season series against Arizona, lost 2 out of 3. They won a grand total of 0 series in the month of September. They didn't win a single series in the month of September.
But they did win a couple series in what month was that? The one that comes after September, usually?
October.
Oh, that's the one. That's where
won,
winning a series is the most important. Got it.
How many in a row did they win? They won they beat the Astros, right?
That's
and then
one.
They only played 2 series then, actually.
Yeah, that was because
beat the Astros,
the wild card was only 1 team.
And they beat the Braves.
Yeah, I mean,
they went to the World Series that year. They didn't win a single series in the month of September.
We got lineups for both teams here as well, by the way.
We'll get to those lineups when we come back. We'll talk more about this kind of craziness as well as we finish up the show. Last segment already, Frank. Here at the Loft, the gates are almost open now. They do have some patrons up here hanging out with us. Come by, say hi before we hand it over to Sam Levitt on the EcoWater and the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. 11:34. Getting ready for Padres baseball on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. We're going to talk about the dooming here in a second. But I do want to mention we got the lineups in for today's game. And I got the Padres lineup. You have Baltimore's lineup?
That I do.
All
I
right.
have both.
Here's what the Padres are laying out today. Batting leadoff and in right field, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second at first base, Luis Arraez. Batting third and at third base is Manny Machado. Ryan O'Hearn is the designated hitter today. He bats cleanup. Ramon Laureano bats fifth. He plays left field. Jackson Merrill bats sixth. He plays center. Jake Cronenworth bats seventh. He plays second base. Jose Iglesias is starting shortstop today for the Padres, bats eighth. And Elias Diaz gets the start the day game after a night game behind the dish for starting pitcher Nestor Cortez. That's how the Padres are lining up their lineup today. How are the Orioles throwing it together?
Now, I do know some of these names. I do not know most of them because, believe it or not my week to watch Baltimore.
I think if you put your cursor on it,
I could do that.
Wow.
I could do that,
doesn't do it.
but that's just a thing that I'm not going to do. It's going to be Jackson Holliday leading off, playing second base. Jackson in right, Mountcastle DHing, Rivera at third, Carlson in left, Cowser in center, Mayo at first, Jackson in center, and then Vasquez at short. Those are 1 to 9 for the Scorioles.
Yeah, Povich starting today for Baltimore. We'll see how the Padres do. Feels like a must-win for a team that's got a 99% chance of making the postseason. People want them to fail so bad. I'm convinced that Padres fans love being upset more than they love being happy.
I don't think it's the wanting them to fail.
Do it. I think they want them to do it.
And this is where my experience as a Met fan comes in as well, because I share this experience with you guys. It's not so much of the wanting them to fail. It's the expecting them to fail. It is the waiting for the other shoe to drop. And every little thing is the trigger to that. You've been conditioned to expect this team to fail. So you're looking out for the first warning sign, which means you become hyper fixated on every little bad thing that happens.
I cannot believe people think this is the beginning of the 2021 collapse. I can't even really put any emphasis on how dumb that sounds. I mean, if that happens, great. You guys could be right, and then you'll be miserable for being right. I mean, that's basically where we're at with that. Enjoy that. I don't think that's going to happen, nor do I want that to happen. And somebody's like, well, pull up the 2021 team. The 2021 team won 6 games in September. They won 6. If the Padres win 8 games, in September, which would be what the 98 team did. If they won 8 games in September, they would still have a 63% chance of making the postseason.
And then you're doing exactly what you've done over the last couple of years, which is go up to LA for the first series for the postseason.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. The only thing you're playing for right now is, of course, you want the division. The division does seem a little bit out of reach right now by the way the team is playing. The Dodgers are doing everything that they can to give the division to the Padres, and they're just not taking it. Right now, your only focus is beating out the Mets, because the Mets determine whether or not you go to Chicago or go to Los Angeles. That is your only other decision. That's your only thing you're worried about right now.
Yeah. I mean, getting swept by Baltimore would suck, but it's literally not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. If that happens today, it's not the end of the world. The season's not over. You got to get right here in a second. I mean, I'd rather have them do it now than have do it the last week of the season, limp into the postseason.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to play better baseball without a shortstop right now.
Yeah, you're playing to see whether or not you go to Chicago or go to LA. That's the only focus you have right now. San Francisco is not catching. I don't care how hot they get. I know they're 9-1 in their last 10. They are not catching you. And you have a chance to put Cincinnati to bed next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So then you won't have to worry about them at all. Your only focus right now is New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. That is it. Those are the only teams you are focusing on right now. And all of those teams, except for the Mets, are above you. That is it. You're looking ahead. That's all you're doing.
Here's the thing, too. Somebody put it in the chat, and I agree. Braden, you've lived here your whole life. Come on, you know how it goes. I do know how it goes. You know what? I'm trying to change that. It's kind of like I'm kind of changing. I want to have a more positive outlook on this instead of just being, enamored with being a loser. I don't. To me, it's like when you start freaking out like that, it just brings it down. It just brings it down all the time. And then I always go like, well, then what's the point? Like, why would you intentionally make yourself as miserable as possible? I just don't get it.
When did I say, Army Man Henry in the chat, when did I say that they would pass the Brewers?
I don't remember that.
I have never said that they would pass the Brewers. I said the Brewers have gotten out too far ahead. The Phillies aren't even going to pass the Brewers. There's no shot at that. Right. I said, if anything negative about the Brewers, I've said that we know what they do in the playoffs is that they choke in the postseason.
If you've learned anything from this show, it is we are right, but just too early.
Exactly.
We've been like that the entire year. And you know what we've done the whole time? Stayed even keel, man. I've just stayed even keel. Can't get too high, can't get too low. From the perspective of breaking down tape all the time, every time you think you have a really good game, you go back and watch, wasn't as good as you thought. Every time you go out there and you have a bad game, wasn't as bad as you thought.
Yeah.
So as bad as this stretch might seem like, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. I don't know how many people I've had to continue to tell that to all season long. And then after like the 2 to 3 weeks of like the misery, they go on a run for 2 to 3 weeks, and then it's just relax. Enjoy the ride. Here's the thing. The best part about this, and we brought this up on the roundtable multiple times, the best part about this, your team is relevant in September. Your team is relevant. This is fun to talk about. You're excited for October. You want to see them win a World Series. You know they have the ability to do it. They're not playing at that level right now. It's fun. Okay, enjoy it while you can. But you look at, again, Adam sent us the fan. It's like a 97.8% chance of making the postseason from Fangraphs. If they do X, Y, Z, they're going to be in a spot where they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, if they go 500 the rest of the way, they have a 99% chance of making the postseason. If they just win 8 games, they win 35% of their games, they'll finish 84-78. They still have higher than a 50% chance of making the postseason. People just they immediately go to the negative of well, it happened in 2021. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again.
I mean, for the Mets, it happened in 2007.
Yeah.
They had that massive collapse and lost the division on the last day of the year, back-to-back years. So, yeah, I know what it's like to be conditioned to expect the team to fail because it's happened in my lifetime. It's happened plenty before my lifetime as well. I just don't. I don't understand the expecting to fail when you know you're in. You're virtually in at this point. It's over. You're in the postseason. You're expecting them to do something that is statistically nearly impossible for them to do. With the weakest schedule in baseball. They have the weakest schedule in baseball right now. And yes, it doesn't look good. It doesn't sound good saying that after you've just lost 7 of your last 9 series. You've just lost the last 3 series, all against American League teams. It doesn't look good. But that is the truth. You are in the postseason. You are playing the weakest schedule in baseball. The Dodgers aren't looking too good right now. And yes, you can say that you can put the Reds to bed is because the 2 teams that they are fighting directly above them, the Mets and Padres, are their next 2 opponents. So if the Mets take 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati and you take 2 out of 3 against Cincinnati, they're done. Right. They're not coming back. You do not see the Cincinnati Reds at all, and then all you're doing is playing for seeding. It's going to happen. These are the ways that these things go. You're going to have ebbs and flows throughout the baseball season, and sometimes it's not going to happen at the most opportune time for you as a fan to see it happen. Every team goes through these struggles. A lot of them go through these struggles in September. Now it's the Padres' turn. The calendar is flipped to September. You're 0-2 in the month of September. Okay, great. You have Colorado coming up next. And then you have Cincinnati. Okay, fine. And then you have Colorado again. Like there's a reprieve in this schedule here. You're going to be fine. You're already in. You just focus on seeding right now.
It's all about the seeding. And the other thing, too, is people are freaking out because it's the division, right? I mean, that's what a lot of people want. And, again, I think the perspective is, I mean, at the beginning of the season, most Padres fans, and I remember because they were like hoping they'd make the playoffs because the Dodgers retooled and got better. And you're like, there's no way they're going to win the division and be close and all this other stuff. Then they jumped out to a 14-3 start, and all of a sudden it was World Series or bust, which I think, with the expectations now of the team and the roster they've assembled, that, I think people should have the expectation that this Padres team can make a run in October. And they're not playing good baseball right now. They have a lot of different things that they have to fix, but that is holding the team accountable, not just, complaining about things that you have really no impact on. I mean, the bitching about every loss is not holding the team accountable because they're going to lose.
Exactly. Losses are going to happen. You cannot hyperfixate on every single game. Otherwise, you are going to drive yourself mental.
It's got to be like stretches of play. There's going to be times where there's going to be whatever. If they go through more, I mean, if they lose today and then get swept by Colorado, I mean, there's going to be a lot of disgruntled fans out there and some hell to pay.
Orthodox, of course you're assuming you're going to win these games. You have to assume you're going to take 2 out of 3. You can't assume a sweep. But you have to assume that you're going to win these series.
Yeah,
and I remember all season long, going into all spring long, filling in on shows when Ben and Woods were in Arizona, listening to the spring training games. Everyone was saying that this team was going to be lucky if they were in a back end of the 6th wildcard spot. There's no backing in right now. You guys are in it.
Yeah.
It's it. The Padres are in it. They are playing with house money right now, and we're getting greedy playing with house money from what this team was expected to do from the beginning of the season. You have to look at periods of time. It is a bad little stretch right now. Absolutely. Going 3-6, assuming you win today, going 3-6 against the American League, not great during this stretch. But you still have weak opponents. It's not like you've got the Dodgers coming up for 2 more series, immediately followed by Milwaukee, Chicago. No, you're playing the Rockies. You're playing Arizona. The team is going to be fine. This is a playoff team. They are in the postseason.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's not changing.
I think so too. And here's the thing. Like, again, you have to have the perspective. You can't just yell and scream every time they lose because they're going to lose games. And unfortunately for Padres fans, is they lost some games that you would assume and expect them to win. And that's going to happen. And they're not playing good baseball right now, but they were playing really good baseball 2 weeks ago. I mean, that's just kind of the cycles of this team and cycles of Major League Baseball teams. And you see it all over Major League Baseball. I mean, there's multiple teams that have had long stretches of losing in a row throughout the game right now. I mean, you can go through all these other teams and see what they've done on some of these stretches, but you have to be a little patient. And it's hard to tell San Diego fans to be patient. They've been patient for, so many, basically since they were all born, they've been patient because we haven't had a winner in San Diego for any sport. And there's been a lot of failure on stuff and teams that have collapsed and everything like that. But again, I mean, there's not much more you could do about it. What do you want them to do? I mean, they just got to turn it around and start playing better. They got to be able to start playing better. So, and the other thing too is we're not telling anybody how to fan. I'm just saying it's probably better if you understand you got to just try to keep it even keel. I mean, just try to keep it even keel because they're going to lose more games. This is not the last time that they're going to lose.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is keeping an even keel saying in the chat that Nick Pivetta only does good against sub 500 teams?
No.
Okay. Just
It's a
wanted
lot
to
of
make sure.
assumptions. And here's the other thing, too. I was going to get to that. Like with this, people are complaining about what you're saying on seating. The goal is, and this is what the expectations were going into the season, right? And the expectations every year is get into the playoffs. And when you get into the playoffs, anything can happen, right? You got to make the playoffs. Well, now all of a sudden that's not good enough. Now it's like, no, we don't. It's the division's great, dude. It's like it's a nice little feather in the cap. But that's what it is. It's a feather in the cap. Does it make your playoff chances slightly better? I think people assume that it does. Like having a home field advantage in the wild card, getting the 4 seed, yes, that would be better. That would be a lot better. It'd be a lot better for the Padres to get a home playoff series if they are a wild card team. Would it not? It would. It would be
Absolutely.
way better, right? Okay. So obviously, trying to track down the Cubs would be ideal. That'd be an ideal situation. Here's the other thing. Wouldn't it be better to win the division? Yeah, and get a feather in the cap? Absolutely. That would guarantee you get a home playoff series in the first round of the playoffs, either in the wild card or if you happen to track down the bye. Yeah, it would be nice to have a bye. It would be. These are all luxuries. The main goal is making the playoffs. And right now, you are going to achieve said goal. Unless you basically lose every game from here on out. And if they did that, well, then they didn't deserve to make the playoffs anyway. And if the Padres did that, then yeah, I think there'd be hell to pay. But unless they get to that particular point, there's no reason to sound the alarm on everything. They're going to figure it out. As people are like, what are they going to do? What are you going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not going to do anything. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, I could say that the starting pitching is bad. That's not going to do anything. I could say this. I could say that. I could say this. I mean, aside from calling guys names, which is what a lot of fans like to do, that's really just it. You're going to go through a lot of ups and downs in a Major League Baseball season. It just feels a little bit more panicked right now because it's September. And you're getting closer to the postseason, and you're playing teams in the American League that aren't very good, and so it's panic time. I can't believe this. Oh, my God. It's going to be fine. They just got to get in. Here's the thing. Let me ask you this question. Everybody that's freaking out about the division, to everybody that's freaking out about a first-round bye, that everybody that's freaking out about, oh, well, the Padres haven't been able to beat anybody on the road that has a 500 record in the regular season. For all of those people out there, if the Padres get the 5 seed or the 6 seed, are you going to watch? Are they just done? Is it season over? They have no chance. Is that what you're saying? Like, I need to know. If you think that is the case, then I mean, yeah, then I can understand why it would be panic fest, right? I can understand why it'd be panic. Then if you know they're going to lose, it's going to be a lot easier for you. It's going to be a lot easier for you to what? You don't have to stress about the game because you already know you're going to lose. I mean, I'm trying to use the logic here. It's making my brain explode of how dumb it sounds. You understand what I'm saying here?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, if the object is we can't play a road playoff game, we're never going to win it. So if we get the 5 or 6 seed, we're going to lose. Then it should be a lot easier for you as a fan getting the 5 and 6. You already know what the outcome's going to be.
I mean, and looking at it right now, as far as the Padres are concerned, Padres record on the road right now is 33-39. You are 6 games under 500.
Look at the rest of the division.
On the road. The Dodgers are 33-34 on the road. The Giants are 35-35 on the road.
The Phillies,
Arizona,
35-35.
Arizona is 34-38. The Rockies are trying.
Let me ask you this. How about this? Here's some numbers for you. Out of all the 6 teams that are going to be in the playoffs, okay, unless the Reds pull their head out of their ass, which I don't think they're going to, these are all the teams in the playoffs. Okay, Chicago, or the New York Mets, the Padres, the Chicago Cubs, the Dodgers, the Phillies, and the Brewers. Out of all those teams, only 2 of them have a winning record on the road. It's Milwaukee, who is one of the best teams in baseball right now. Still not a team that scares me. They're 40-29 on the road. And it's the Cubs, who are 37-34. That's it. Everybody else is 500 or worse.
Yeah.
Phillies, 35-35 on the road. Dodgers, 33-34 on the road. Padres, 33-39. Mets, 30-37 on the road. A lot of them don't have great records against teams above 500 either. I mean, you look at all the other teams, and even though we view this in a vacuum, okay, and we watch Padres baseball every single day, I'm telling you, this team is not like they haven't turned into the Chicago White Sox overnight because they have dropped 2 series in a row to 2 bad ball clubs in the American League. 2 bad ball clubs, which, by the way, I said earlier in the show today, 2 clubs that look at their schedule and go, this Padres team's good. We're playing in a great atmosphere in San Diego. You know what professional athletes are going to do? They're going to get geared up for those games.
Yes.
So you're not seeing the lousy Baltimore Orioles. You're seeing the Baltimore Orioles play their ass off this week to try to get some wins against a team that they know is going to be in the postseason.
And what I'm seeing here in the chat, Hank Stanley, when you have a chance to grab the division, you have to take it. Yes, we agree.
We agree.
But that's not the overarching goal. The overarching goal is just get to the dance. That's all you have to do. It's nice to win the division. Absolutely. It's wonderful to be able to hang a banner or fly a flag in the building. It is what you start out with at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season. But the overarching goal is just make it. Because if you make it, anything can happen. You can win. You can get swept right out of it. You have no idea what is going to happen, and you will not know unless you make it. That is the first goal. That is the goal first and foremost, is just make it. Doesn't matter winning the division. You just have to make it first.
I don't know how many times I got to hear Tony Gwynn Jr. say it, because I don't know, he played in Major League Baseball. Didn't he play in Major League Baseball, Tony Gwynn Jr.? Didn't he play in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, and Orthodox in the chat. Let's stop pretending a series against the Orioles isn't just as hard as a series against the Dodgers. It is. Every series is difficult.
Yes.
Another thing that Tony would say, they're all major leaguers. They're all trying to win these games.
That's
they're all doing doing their hardest. They're all doing their hardest.
It's not easy to win.
No, it's
games
not.
In Major League Baseball.
That's why I always say you can't expect a sweep. You have to go in hoping to take 2 out of 3 or split. You cannot expect a sweep because any team can accidentally win a game any day.
Again, we're trying to help you guys out. We're trying to talk some people off the ledge here. It's going to be okay. People think they're getting attacked. We're not attacking anybody. We're trying to talk some people off the ledge of Padres baseball. I mean, think about like the season that they've had, the ups and the downs. This is a little bit of a down right now. They're going to bounce back. I mean, this is the team that you believed could do it 3 weeks ago. And now all of a sudden you don't believe in them anymore because they've had a couple of bad stretches. And you know what? I see the side of, well, it is the easiest schedule remaining, therefore they should be doing a lot better. They should be doing a lot better. But sometimes in baseball you go through some bad spells, and you go through some bad spells at times that don't make a lot of sense. This is a sport of failure. I mean, it's crazy. And all the best teams do this. I mean, what was it, last year or 2 years ago, the Dodgers got swept by the Pirates, like in the season? Like 7 games in a row to the Pirates. I mean, the Dodgers couldn't beat the Angels. I'm just using them as an example because we pay more attention to them than any other team in Major League Baseball. But at the same time, it happens. You got to make the playoffs. And right now, they're in a spot to make the playoffs. And when you get to October, everything changes, and it's just a different animal. And that's exactly what's going to happen again this year. And that's what's going to happen again this year.
And again, no, we're not predicting a postseason berth based on the schedule. We're predicting a postseason berth based off of what they have already done.
Based on math.
It's not a 97% chance if they win the next couple series. No, it's a 97% chance based on what they have already done to this point.
And where everybody else is in Major League Baseball and where the Reds are and the schedule that they have. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, you go through it. I mean, if the Padres win 9 of their next 23 games, win 39% of their next 23 games, they have a 85% chance of making the postseason. They'll finish 85-77. I mean, we're just strictly talking math here on a lot of these deals. They're in a good spot. It's going to be fine. If I had to pick a time for them to struggle a little bit, it would be at the beginning of September and not the end of September. You still have Michael King coming back, and we hope that's good news. Okay. You have time to try to figure out your starting rotation. You have time to try to figure out how to replace Xander Bogaerts for the remainder of the season. You have time to do a lot of these things. We have time to pause 10 seconds for station identification.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Everybody needs a little time to warm up. That's why we ease into each show with a little foreplay at 6 a.m. Tune in to Ben and Woods weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And Odyssey Sports Station.
I'm Braden Surprenant. He's Frank Marchese. Braden Surprenant Show live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. Today going up to 12:10 for the Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show. Padres and Orioles getting ready to start game 3 of a 3-game, start game 3 of this 3-game series. Padres trying to salvage the series before they go to Colorado and hopefully get right. A lot of people are upset, Frank. I mean, the thing is, we've done our best to try to talk people off the ledge today. I'm not telling you how to fan. I'm just saying, hey, remember, this is where we're at right now, okay? There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of time left in Major League Baseball. They still have time to make it up. Is it frustrating that they are not taking advantage of the Dodgers losing? Yeah, it is. But again, at the beginning of the season, what were the expectations? Make the playoffs and then see what you can do. And it seems like we've gotten away from a little bit of that.
Yeah, and that all comes from, again, as we've mentioned over the course of this hour, just looking at each game in a vacuum and not taking a look at the bigger picture of what is going on here. And yes, it is. It's immensely frustrating to see this team losing to beatable teams. And I saw somebody, I don't know if you were joking or not in the chat, but saying, oh, this is coming from a Mets fan. Frustrating baseball is frustrating baseball no matter who it is. I am a baseball fan first. The Mets are my team, and of course I root for the Padres, working for the station now and living here for as long as I have, longer than I've lived in New York, honestly, at this point. But it's okay to be frustrated with what is going on. It is okay to point out the problems. However, you can't just take it out of context of the entire season, which is what we've seen in the chat here today, is taking these last couple of days out of the context of what has been a successful season, and a season that has gone far better than any of us had predicted it was going to go.
And again, this isn't, SD mentality, just happy to make the playoffs. Did I say that? I don't remember saying that. Does anybody listen to what we say? No, that's not what we're saying. But until you get to the playoffs, there's really no reason to complain about a lot of this stuff. I mean, starting pitching is a problem. We agree. That needs to be fixed. They got to try to play. They got to play a lot better there. They got to try to figure out how they're going to handle this situation without Xander Bogaerts for the next handful of weeks. Tatis needs to be better. There's a lot of things that need to be better. They have time to do that, and that time starts this afternoon against Baltimore. We'll see. It's a very up and down squad, as mentioned before, but the Padres are still in a good spot. Some of the growing pains. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, live from the Loft. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Coming up next, Sam Levitt, Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.